mixlr.com, all /wakeupcalldt, as well as on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and on facebook.com /live-now-dt. So however you're connecting with the show, we thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of these Cafe Kubal studios, folks. Cafe Kubal coming to you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, New York. You also find them by going to the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road, to Sweetheart Corners, and enjoying them there in their drive-thru location in North Syracuse. You will also find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York, in their giant behemoth of a brown stripe building, and you can't miss it. I call it the Welcome Center of Manlius, so you'll find it there as well. So make sure you head over to the wonderful locations, whichever one is near you or on your drive today, or maybe it's a little bit out of the way, but it's worth it to support local and be a part of this beautiful Cafe Kubal extended family for everything they do with their coffees, their teas, their chais, as well as the incredible desserts that they have and their all-new menu that is now out there for you. So very excited to see the new menu at Cafe Kubal with you, and I hope you go out and enjoy it today as you try the wonderful flavors of local Central New York created and based company here in our beautiful community, Cafe Kubal. So make sure you head out there today. With that being said, we got an awesome show set up for you inside of these Cafe Kubal studios, and I'm very much looking forward to the opportunity of sharing this morning with you. So a lot of great stuff coming up where sports meets that thing called life. We're going to start things off in just a second here inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' with our Lemoyne-centric piece, which is called AD and DT, with opportunity for AD and DT this morning. Very excited. We're going to be talking about the fall PHINS Phrenzy, which I am very happy is going to include some fantastic partners that you know here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So just keeping the family strong and bringing them together is something that I absolutely love to do, and we'll be talking about that in just a little bit here where sports meets that thing called life. To begin Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the fall PHINS Phrenzy. And so we'll be discussing what's coming up this Saturday, October 22nd, the day after my birthday, in celebration of Lemoyne College and of their athletic department, their students, their student athletes, and everybody, and all of the alumni. So they'll be having a huge doubleheader for Lemoyne men's and women's soccer. Both teams have the opportunity right now to find a way into the NE10 playoffs, which I'm very, very excited about. And so this game has huge implications for women's soccer and men's soccer, and their doubleheader is going to happen this Saturday, October 22nd, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and carrying through to the second game, which will start at approximately 2 p.m. Eastern Time. There's going to be contests with there's going to be contests going on, team autograph signings, a t-shirt toss, a youth soccer halftime game, and plenty more. And PB&J's lunchbox, as well as Carvel, DeWitt, are going to find their way to the wonderful campus of Lemoyne College, and very excited for that, as their food trucks will be on site, on location, and you know they're proud partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So a lot of great stuff coming up where sports meets that thing called life, and very much looking forward to seeing all the great stuff happening this weekend on my birthday weekend. So we'll talk about that with Bob in just a moment, and then we'll get into my conversation with Rob Carpenter. He was supposed to be on the show yesterday, had to change our schedule up a little bit. Rob's going to be on the show today in just a little while, a little bit after 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll have Rob Carpenter, Syracuse Orange wide receiver, alum, speaking on the 6-0 Orange, the upcoming matchup with Clemson, and more. And hour number 2, which is typically on Wednesday, the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Don't worry, we are going to be doing Fantasy Football Week 7. We're going to do it at 11 o'clock. I'm going to give you an extra hour on the broadcast today because Ross is deserving of an hour, and we're going to give him hour number 2. So from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., you're going to hear from Bob Beretta of Lemoyne, Rob Carpenter of Syracuse football history. Then 10 to 11 will be Ross and I speaking on his New York Yankees, as well as the Major League Baseball overall postseason, and of course our antics as we always do. And then hour number 3 today from 11 a.m. to noon Eastern Time will bring you fantasy football in a new video. So we're going to have plenty coming up for you here today because I decided to give you an extra hour. Why? Because I want to. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. We'll be back right after this with Bob Beretta in AD and DT during Dolphin time, speaking on the Fall Phins Frenzy, which is coming up this weekend at Lemoyne campus.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, salsa Cuse, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Witty Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
Welcome here to an all-new edition of AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta of Lemoyne College. Myself, Dan Tortora, a.k.a. DT. We're always happy to be here with you in Dolphin Time, which is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on Wake Up Call in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. So proud to be here on campus at Lemoyne, and always value our time with Bob, with Dr. Linda Lemira, with the coaches, the student athletes, future Dolphins, administration, and of course the alumni. So it's a great Phin family here, and the Fall Phin Frenzy is coming up this weekend, which I'm very excited about. The day after my birthday, I will be making an appearance, and so will two of our most treasured, wonderful partners that we work with, PB&J's Lunchbox and Carvel, DeWitt. So happy to see Pat, another October baby, and Jay that'll be out here. And Bob and I got a lot to talk about. So Bob, first and foremost, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Dan. Let me be the first to wish you an early happy birthday. A couple days away, but happy birthday.
Thank you. So he got to it first. Some people try to get that midnight into me. So Bob is actually the first person to wish me a happy birthday this year, and he beat you all to it here on October 19th. So on Friday, October 21st, the Fall Phin Frenzy is going to be this Saturday, October 22nd, and very excited about it. It's a doubleheader for the soccer team. Men's and women's team are going to be here coming toward the tail end of the regular season, and definitely a great doubleheader to culminate the hard work, effort, and enthusiasm of both teams. So I'll unleash you into this because you were a big part of putting all this together and making sure we had a really special weekend this weekend on the 22nd.
Yeah, Dan, thanks. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to talk a little bit about our fall PHINS Frenzy. You know, they've had PHINS Frenzies here around basketball season in the past, and we had one tentatively scheduled last year, but with COVID still raging, we decided to step back from that and not hold it a year ago. We're going to hold at least one, if not two, during the winter this year coming up, probably second semester around some basketball games, but we thought, hey, well, let's take advantage of this beautiful central New York fall weather. Hopefully we'll have a beautiful day, and knock on wood, right now the long-range forecasts are very positive for us, and we're bringing Jay in the Carvel DeWitt truck here, so hopefully it's a great day for ice cream, and also Pat with PB&J's lunchbox, and we have another group coming in as well. So we just were trying to take advantage of the activity on campus, try to bring the community together, support our soccer teams. It's their senior days. In addition to that, we have some contests. There's going to be t-shirt giveaways. We're going to have some youth teams play at halftime, some other t-shirt giveaways during the course of the day. So just trying to bring in that sense of community and rally around our athletics in order to leverage athletics in a way that helps build community. And we're hoping that we get a phenomenal turnout. The students stay here for the weekend, enjoy the great weather, fantastic food from our partners. There's student discounts that they'll be able to enjoy on behalf of our student life department as well. So we're really excited about it. We're excited about bringing community together, and anytime we have a chance to showcase our student athletes in a positive light, we're really excited about that.
And when I told Bob that my birthday was on Friday, his first response was, great, then we'll see you on Saturday. So, and it's going to be an interesting birthday weekend because my birthday actually started early here. Been celebrating all week, been trying to do some nice things and take some time and, dare I say it, try to relax, spend some time with my dog. And so my birthday's on Friday. I got a plan of what I'm doing October 21st. Then Saturday I'll be here. Then I have a party later in the day with a bunch of family and friends and people that I love and have dear in my life. And then beyond that, I literally, after my party on Saturday, get on a flight Sunday morning, go to Giants Jaguars, cover my Jaguars, get to see my buddy DeAndre Smith, who's coaching Saquon Barkley and the Giants running backs, and then I'm going to Disney for a couple days and coming back. So I got a long birthday extravaganza, and Bob and I will see each other for part of it. Hopefully we'll get to sneak you out and maybe get to see you for the party later on.
Yeah, I hope so. We had a busy day with that PHINS Frenzy and some other things planned. But yeah, enjoy. Sounds like you have a great whole week planned for your schedule. So I'm looking forward to having you get some time away and enjoy time down at Disney. I know that's a place that's near and dear to your heart. So no better way to celebrate your birthday than to go to one of your favorite places on earth.
Yeah, and being a big kid and having that opportunity and obviously being here right after my birthday, like I said, here on Saturday, October 22nd, I'm really pumped about the fact that this event is just happening here, and we got to line it up and set it up, and right in the room we're sitting in right now, Bob and I were talking about it, and he was like, oh, we got, we're looking at food trucks, and I was like, well, look no further. Yeah. So Carvel DeWitt, PB&J's lunchbox, coming from our team at Wake Up Call, which Lemoyne is a part of, and helping positive people, helping positive people, good, supporting good, iron sharpens iron. So I'm really looking forward to this event. I'd love to get your thoughts on why it was such an important piece to do here in the fall semester and why you wanted to have this around the soccer team, because we've seen some great crowds show up, but you're doing this in a big way, and I know concessions and different things in the future you're looking at here at Lemoyne. So to bring in these local opportunities to help these people out in our community, Carvel right down the street, PB&J is maybe 10, 12 minutes away, to have an event like this and to do all these different things for the student body and then to connect it back to athletics, just why you felt like this was something you wanted to do, because it's a multi-layered give back, and it's definitely showing how much Lemoyne loves their fans, their community, and their students and student athletes.
Well, Dan, I think you said it best, and you've said it over and over again, and you prove it in your day-to-day life. It's all about relationships and community, and we feel like we are, Syracuse's local hometown college, where we play a big role in this community. Our students many of them are from the Syracuse area, central New York area. We're very active in community service. Last year, our student athletes completed over 2,300 hours of community service. This year, already over 1,000 hours So I'm just so proud of their commitment and their dedication to community, and we felt like, hey, this is a really wonderful chance for us to reach out and expand our footprint in terms of bringing some other people on our campus and support local businesses, but also provide our students and our student athletes with quality entertainment options. And we've heard for months and months, if not years and years, that try to bring food trucks in anytime we do a promotion of sorts. And this is really the first major promotion that we've done here in several years because of COVID. So we felt like, you know what, this is a great opportunity. Hopefully the weather will be perfect. We have senior days, so we're going to celebrate our seniors and their careers here at Lemoyne. We're going to bring in community youth teams to play at halftime. We've begun doing that this year as well. Yep. We have contests at halftime to hopefully have some local people walk away with some Lemoyne gear. It's really just a celebration, really a celebration of community. It's what it is, and it's not just the community on campus. It's our general community here in Syracuse, and we're really motivated and very dedicated to do that, very committed to play a role in this. So hopefully, I know people's schedules are very busy in the fall. People are out at different events and looking at the leaves and the foliage and fall harvest events, but we feel like hopefully people can slip in here and spend some time with us and really celebrate what we think will be kind of our peak fall athletic weekend before we really gear up, and then before you know it, basketball will be right around the corner. Well, it is right around the corner. It'll be right on our front doorstep here in a matter of weeks.
You can pick up your pumpkins on Sunday like I did this past week. You can apple pick on Sunday, but on Saturday you have somewhere to be. So make sure that you're here on campus at Lemoyne and honoring two teams that we've talked about all season long from the beginning to now. We've had their coaches on for the women's soccer team. We've had Yaro Zavaslan on the show. For the men's team, we've had Tom Bonus, and we've also had representation of student athletes from both the women's soccer team and the men's soccer team, all inside of Dolphin Dive, which is every other week outside of AD and DT the first and third week, like this week, and every second and fourth week, Dolphin Dive on Wednesdays at 9 inside of Dolphin Time in this Lemoyne slot that is always concretely here for you. So we've been able to celebrate the student athletes, the coaches, and the community. I've been able to talk with parents after the game, and a really great experience, one of the recent games here, coming out and somebody stopping me saying, hey, like, you're Dan and we appreciate all you're doing. We watch your stuff. Thanks for what you're doing with the kids. And I got to talk with some of the parents of these awesome student athletes and celebrate with them and just to see them out here. And it doesn't matter what day of the week, it doesn't matter what time of the game. We have some really, really dedicated families that come out to see their kids and see the people that they love, and people in the community that aren't even blood related come out and do this, and they always wait on the hill after to congratulate and show love for the student athletes. And so I want to thank you all, because you really made my day a couple weeks ago, and I love the fact we've gotten to tell the stories of these two teams, and I'm happy that we get to honor them and spotlight them this weekend for this, very, very special Fall Fin Frenzy. So excited for this, and would love for you to just give some notes on these teams and why we've talked about them so much, because you and I have, and obviously I've talked with the coaches and the student athletes.
Well, both these matchups are critical for their standings in where they could compete in the NE10 championships. Both are right on the cusp of qualifying for the NCAA tournament. Yeah. I should say for the NE10 conference tournament. So critical games. The women at 11 o'clock against the Delphi, and the men later that day at 2 o'clock. And that's going to be another really critical matchup for both of these teams. The fact that we're even talking about the women's team vying for a position in the NE10 championships is a tribute to their resiliency, their tenacity, their grit, the fight that they've displayed. And remember, Coach Zavaslan came on, Coach Yaro came on literally days before our season started. We were put in a really difficult situation with a coaching change, and Coach Yaro came in literally 2 days, I think, before the first training session. And to watch this team develop and grow over the course of the past several months, it's been exciting, and hopefully, they're going to be a contender for the NE10 championships here this fall. And Tom Bonus' squad has really just played in tough luck. If you look, this year the NCAA did away with the sudden death session. So you look at our record, and we have 5 ties already, and we didn't have any last year. And it's just been, we've been a goal shy here or there of having an incredible season, and now we're battling through some some difficult injuries and trying to weather that storm. But again, Coach Bonos has the club vying for another postseason berth. So Saturday is going to be just so important to both of their chances for the postseason. So we want as many people to come out, cheer them on, bring the young kids out. We're going to have autograph sessions as well after the games with both teams. So get a chance to interact with our student athletes, and just a wonderful day on tap.
Celebrating the seniors, celebrating the community, 2 teams vying for the NE10 postseason and a hopeful NCAA berth after that. So much on the line. Community people, Carvel, DeWitt, PB&J's Lunchbox, Lemoyne giving back, the halftime events where you can get some awesome Lemoyne gear. I might have to go out there and kick a few balls. So there's a lot of great stuff coming up. It all comes together and culminates on Saturday, October 22nd, starting at 11 a.m. in the doubleheader with the second game starting around 2 o'clock. So make sure that you take that time, come out here. The weather's supposed to be good, it's supposed to hold up. My favorite weather is sweatshirt and shorts, so hopefully we get to rock that this weekend. And Bob and I will obviously be in the stands. We look forward to seeing you out there too.
Thanks for the opportunity, Dan, and hopefully we'll get a lot of folks come out here and support our student athletes and support the community, and most importantly, celebrate the community on Saturday.
So we'll see you for this Fall Fin Frenzy, and in the meantime, we appreciate you as always, and as Bob and I always send out to you, and we will gladly say to you when we see you on Saturday, fins up. Thanks, Bob.
Fins up. Happy birthday, Dan.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll talk with you all soon. Have a good day. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports meets that thing called life, and always appreciate the opportunity that we have to talk with all the fantastic guests that we've had here over the years. I can't believe, it's crazy to say this, but I think we're somewhere at 3,500 guests that have been on the show already. We've been able to tell a lot of different stories and share a lot of things, and it's just incredible people, and I think that's the good part of it too, is that a lot of people that have graced this stage have been really amazing people and wonderful, people that you love telling the stories of and you love sharing your time with and all of that. So they're not just guests on the broadcast, but they're really, really incredible individuals. And this person that's going to be joining me now is no difference to that. He's the epitome of this, and we got to talk for, a bunch of times off the air, and then we got to see each other last year, and it meant the world to me to be able to walk up and sit down with Syracuse wide receiver Rob Carpenter, who moved on to the NFL, who did a lot of great things, who's had a lot of success, and is just a tremendous person, in my opinion. Somebody that I love sitting down with, love talking about anything with, sports, life, whatever it may be. He's a positive soul. He's a good guy. And it is my pleasure to welcome him back to the show inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, Mr. Rob Carpenter of Syracuse Orange football history. Let's bring him in. Rob, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Dan. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. And Rob, I mean, this season, I don't think anybody saw it going this way. Very few people saw it going this way. Syracuse picked last in the ACC in the Atlantic Division. What have you seen from day one? Is there any central theme that has carried through these first 6 games for Syracuse en route to 6-0, in your opinion?
Yeah, actually, from the day I came up there in August during training camp to watch practice that day, the guys were just together. You saw the confidence that they had in the practice, and that theme that they were together and against the world. That's basically what I see and what I've seen to start the season. So when you got a group of guys that believe in each other and then can go out on the field and have each other's back, that's a good thing to have. And we see it started that way at 6-0.
Yeah, and you said when you came up to Syracuse, you saw the team together, you saw them with each other. How did you see that? What was it about the way that they carried themselves that made you feel like, this is different. This is a different vibe. This is a different type of feel to it. This is a team that really, truly is going to have each other's backs.
Well, you saw the competitiveness that was out there at practice, but at the same time, you didn't see anybody actually just really getting down on somebody else. So, when you actually have guys out there on the field competing against each other, offense, defense, or whether it's, 2 guys playing the same position competing against each other, but no one's actually really being negative towards the next person, that's a good thing to see. That lets you know that the team is actually together. They all have each other's back. And, as we see, if someone goes down, the person that's behind the next person can step up and fill in just as good. So, that's basically what I saw when I was up there watching practice.
That coming here from Syracuse Orange wide receiver alum Rob Carpenter this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. That win over NC State and what Syracuse did in a statement now. Granted, Devin Leary, their starting quarterback, was not there for the game. He's out. Well, he was there on site, but he's out for the season. And so your take on, kind of how they played against that, and does it take anything away? Because I'm always a person where you play who's in front of you, you play what's in front of you. Nobody cut Syracuse any slack when Eric Dungy would go down with injury. Nobody cut him any slack when Terrell Hunt went down with an injury. So Syracuse knows what it's like to have their quarterbacks go down with injuries and have players go down with injuries, and Cisco and Garrett Williams and a bunch of different guys. Trill Williams have gone down with different things, and stuff has happened, and nobody's given any excuses. It's not like they're like, oh, well, Clemson's whatever and they beat a Syracuse team that didn't have this guy out there. But you hear that with Syracuse, and sometimes you hear it from so-called fans. How do you respond when you hear somebody say, oh, yeah, well, Syracuse won, but they didn't beat, like, the best guys at NC State?
You can only play who's out there on the field.
Yeah.
And a win is a win. Playing a game is not easy, and getting a win is not easy at any level. So, if people are complaining about, teams getting wins, that's just sadness. I mean, to be honest with you, nobody was feeling bad for Florida State when NC State beat them with their backup quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So, there was no complaints there. It's just that they came up to Syracuse, and Syracuse hasn't been looked at as that great powerhouse in a few years, and now they're getting these wins, and people are starting to open their eyes, but always trying to find some slither of something that's not real for this team. But again, like I said, you can only play who's on the field, and if it happens to be a backup quarterback, a backup left tackle, a backup running back, nobody's gonna feel sorry for you. So you just go out, you do what you need to do. You get the win and you move on. That's all you can do. And you won't complain about it at all. Nobody will complain about it.
Yeah, you handle your business. You handle what's on the field, and to know that this team is 6-0, and I fielded a lot of different things, and I feel the same way that Dino feels when Dino said when I was at the postgame press conference, and they were asking him about negative stuff, like, oh, well, the 2 interceptions and this and that. And he responded and he said, we won. Enjoy the game. Like, enjoy the moment, enjoy the game. And I feel that way all the time. I've fielded people that have written in and said, Dan, do you think we should have played Wagner? My response is, everybody does that. Alabama plays teams like that. Clemson plays teams like that. Everybody has that on their schedule. Syracuse usually plays that game close. So the positivity of it all is that didn't happen that way this year, and Syracuse blew them out, as you should in those games. But, I feel that everything from the starting quarterback isn't playing to, why did they even play Wagner, Dan? This game shouldn't be played, and so on and so forth. And, I've heard Garrett Schrader isn't a quarterback that can throw the ball. This is, I've heard a lot of different things, and I keep looking at these people saying, you're 6-0. And granted, I don't consider them real Syracuse fans. I consider them Duke fans that have been planted, and I mean that's kind of how I look at it. But I don't believe that you complain, like you said. When you complain in a win, it's just sadness. But to see that some people are ripping on this team, ripped on Garrett Schrader. One guy wrote in and said that Sean Tucker was like a Pop Warner football player, and I don't understand where any of this comes from. But, Rob, I mean, did you ever field any of this when you were playing for the Syracuse in the late 80s, early 90s? People that call themselves fans that are mad when the team is... I said this... What the thing is that some of these fans are used to losing, and so now they have all this anger inside, and they have nowhere to put it, so it sounds totally illogical. But did you ever deal with fans, either in Syracuse or the NFL, that somehow found a problem to every solution?
Yes. I mean, you do. But I can say my time at Syracuse, it wasn't, as bad as it is now. You always have fans that actually will try to find something negative about a game, no matter how well a win is or how bad people think that a win is. But a win is a win, no matter how you get it. The good thing about it is, when the game is over, if you've played bad or didn't play up to your expectations, you go back and you watch the film and you make corrections. That's the good thing about what you can do after a win and still feel good about it. The people complaining about, the team playing, like you said, Wagner or UConn and blowing those teams out, we did it all the time. There wasn't anything, different back in the 80s, in the 90s. And as you just said, the other top flight, D1 teams, they do it all the time. That's the beginning of their schedule. They get those games out of the way before they get into the meat of their conference schedule. So, it's just one of those things, man, where fans who call themselves fans always want something to complain about. So they feel good about themselves with certain things with the team. You can look on every fan base around the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And teams that are winning, you'll still have fans that will complain about a win, just like, Syracuse fans are doing right now, that the team is 6-0. It's a funny thing to me, man. I mean, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter that much or not, Dan, but I do, comically laugh at a lot of fans who complain about wins. At every level in every sport. It's just so it's just a weird thing to me. How you find so much negativity in a team going out on the field and actually winning a game that's not easy to win. But they're out there, man. And I just kind of play with them a little bit on Twitter, man, and have some fun with it.
Yeah, and as you should. I definitely I feel the same way. And it's crazy. It's just crazy to me. And it's like, I didn't schedule the Wagner game, so don't come to me and ask me, well, Dan, look, we played the game, and look at what I was like, I didn't schedule that game. But, I just, see, I'm a person of positivity, and so I don't live in a world of negativity. And I've realized as I've gotten older, and people have told me this my whole life, but, like, I live it now, and you probably say the same thing to me. If somebody is negative and I'm meeting you for the first time, there's a really good chance that that's the last time we're going to talk to each other. And like there's no point in me. If I shake your hand and it's just, constant complaining, I'm probably out of that room, out of that. I'm just going on to the next place because I don't have time for that. And I'm a positive person. And it's funny because I've come out and said it. I said we should be able to make a preseason prediction and then an in-season prediction a few games in. Because preseason-wise, you're basing it on everybody's healthy. You're basing it on things that have happened coming into this season. You're not knowing what different coordinators and head coaches are going to do. I don't think anybody thought Duke was going to be winning games, because they haven't been winning games. But then Mike Elko came in. He's a defensive-minded coach, but who would have thought they would have been scoring offensively? So I tell people, hey, I had Syracuse at 5-7 with an outside shot at 6-6 in the preseason, based on what I saw, and I don't think a lot of people would argue that. Now, a few games in, and looking at the team now, I see a 9-win team. And I was sitting here saying to myself, why can't I assess it? And I was like, well, what's holding me back from assessing it? Nobody. I'm the boss of my own company. This is what I do. And we're allowed to assess a team as they go, and I'm allowed to say that this team is better than I thought. And my exact words at the beginning of the season were, as a fan and as a supporter and as a lover of all these guys, I want 12-0. As an impartial broadcaster who has a job to do, I see 5-7 with an outside shot at 6-6. I hope they prove me wrong. And those are my words. And they have proven me wrong. And, in the years where I've had them winning more games and doing this and doing that, you don't hear somebody go, oh, yeah, good job, Dan. Well, I mean, some people do, but the crazy people don't. But here it's like, well, Dan, did you have them here? Did you have them in it? And it's preseason versus seeing the game. And, Rob, I like to try and assess a team going into the season, but I'm always much more comfortable assessing a team once you get to see them. It's like thinking about hiring somebody and assessing what type of employee they're going to be the day you hire them, as opposed to doing a report 90 days in. And that's how I feel about it. It's like my 90-day report of Syracuse is a 9-win team in the regular season. My day that I hired them, so to speak, it was 5-6. And, this team has definitely opened a lot of people's eyes, and I think it's a beautiful thing. It's not a happy accident. It's not something that they fell into. It's not something that they owe somebody else a congratulations for. These guys busted their tail, worked their butts off, and they've done an incredible job, and they're playing like a family. I love that they have this mob mentality, and they're utilizing that as kind of their moniker. But, Rob, watching this team this season has gotten me thinking about 2018 when Dungy and the crew were just like, screw everybody, we're going to get this job done. And that's how I feel about this team now is we don't care if you believe in us, we don't care if you like us, we don't care if you picked us, we don't care if you have an opinion about us. We're going to function from the inside out. We're going to band together as brothers. And dare I say it, if this team keeps playing the way they're playing and acting the way they're acting, we could see one of the best Syracuse teams in recent history.
That's true. And going back to what you said about the, preseason, I've been a firm believer that preseason rankings shouldn't even be made because you never know how a team is actually going to play. It's just based on talent that actually might be there, and like you said, and stuff before possible injuries. Yeah. Rankings actually should come out 3-4 weeks into the season. Then you kind of get a feel for most of the teams that are out there. But you're allowed to assess a team every week, because one week team could actually look great, next week they could look dope. So you can do an assessment every week on a team and have slightly different a long-term outlook what the team actually should be. Based on what you see week to week, because as you said, you might have had a five-win team going into the season, but now that you see them, you see maybe 9, but 2 weeks from now you could probably see possibly see an undefeated team. You never know. Yeah. If they get through these next few weeks. So you can assess a team week to week, but the one thing I do, like I said, I do like about this team, and you heard Dino say it, Baby say it, the team is like a family. And when you have a bunch of guys believing in each other and acting like they are a family, that can take a team a long way. Because, as I said before, if a guy goes down, they know that person won't be forgotten, but the next person has to step up. And we've seen it. I started getting a little concerned about the injuries on the defense, 2 weeks ago. And, it just seems like every game someone else is going down. But, as we see, the next person is stepping up. So that's a great thing to have. That lets you know that there's actually talent on this team that nobody actually saw coming. So if they ever get to the point where they can put full games together on both sides of the ball and special teams, you never know what's going to happen for the rest of the season. And like you said, it's possible that this could be one of the better teams in Syracuse in recent history.
Yeah, this team has definitely gone out there and just been different, felt different, and I love that. I love what we've been seeing. And, I was looking at Clemson and Syracuse by the numbers, and I brought this up a bunch of times and brought it up to start the week inside a wake-up call with Tortora and Elford with my co-host Isaac Elford, and we were discussing the numbers. And DJ Uiagalelei has played. I mean, remember, Clemson's played an extra game, and they're 7-0. Syracuse is 6-0. In 7 games, DJ has over 1,600 yards passing. In 6 games, Schrader has 1,400 plus. You see DJ 64% completion percentage. Garrett Schrader is just shy of 70% completion percentage, and he's throwing a bunch of passes. This is not throwing 3 passes a game. He's thrown to multiple receivers. A bunch of guys have already gotten in the end zone. We've seen touchdowns from numerous receivers. Oronde Gadsden the second, and you being a receiver alum, we'll talk about him in a second. But there's seasons where it might have been last season too, where Syracuse receivers end the season with 300 total yards and maybe a couple touchdowns. Oronde has over 500 yards. He's en route to be a 1,000-yard receiver this season, and he already has 5 receiving touchdowns. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at Will Shipley versus Sean Tucker, and their numbers-wise, with Shipley having an extra game and saying, okay, he's got 8 rushing touchdowns, Tuck's got 6. Their yards per carry, Shipley's a little bit better, but they're close, and they're both really good. With that, Tuck's got more yards overall, even though he's played 1 less game. And on top of that, it's like, okay, for both teams, who's their second leading rusher? Their quarterback. DJ for Clemson, Garrett for Syracuse. How many points do they score? 38.6 to Clemson, 36 for Syracuse. I look at turnover margin. Clemson's +6, Syracuse +5. So a lot of these pieces between these two teams are very close to each other, which I think is awesome. So statistically on paper, when people go, oh, it's the big bad wolf Clemson, and here's little old Syracuse, on paper, they're almost dead even in a lot of categories, and it says a lot about them. And you also look at the fact DJ through 7 games, 2 interceptions. Garrett through 6 games, 3 interceptions, would have been 2, but he thought the same play that I thought, that the play was dead because the guy moved on the defensive line. I saw it through my camera lens. I saw the guy move in real time, and Garrett's like, he saw it, he thought the guy was going to call the flag, he didn't put the flag out, and so that mindset of, okay, this is a free play type of thing. So, I mean, when you look at everything on paper and statistically, Syracuse is not this 13.5 point underdog. They're actually almost dead even with Clemson, but they're still going in there without the respect.
That's the big thing. Syracuse is not going to get the respect, basically for this season. Because I think it's catching everybody by surprise. So, even myself and I dare to say pretty much everybody else who's a fan of the teams, a 6-0 start is not something that anybody actually expected. So, playing this game, the teams are, as you said, on paper, fairly even. But everyone will think that Clemson should be and would be much better, especially playing there. So this is actually a really good test for Syracuse. If they go in there, like they did, years ago, and it came down to, Clemson having a fourth quarter drive to win the game, if they play anything like that, you never know what could happen because, it's not Trevor Lawrence that's back there throwing ball. You know what I'm saying? So, and I get DJ is a very good athlete. They have weapons, and he's a strong kid. He can tuck it and run, which is a threat that, is great for Clemson at this time. They played well over the last few weeks. They didn't start so great, but Syracuse is basically like a mirror image of that team. The things that they do. So, after this game, especially with them down there playing. Yeah. If they come out of this game, and I'm not one for moral victories at all. But if they do come out of this game playing Clemson, close, and a lot closer than people would think, or even getting a victory, down there, that's going to bode well for the team. The confidence is going to be sky high, and I think at that point in time, everyone around the country will look at Syracuse as a formidable team for the rest of the season.
Yeah, this is definitely an opportunity to, and I said it, if Syracuse beats Clemson, if and when that happens, the Syracuse deserves to be a top 5 team. They won't be because they got to make space for the Big Ten. So always, Michigan and Ohio State don't have to beat anybody the entire season and then they play each other. But the reality is if Syracuse does in fact beat Clemson, I see them as being in the top 8. Definitely the top 10. The awesome thing about NC State, Wake Forest, and Clemson that they have to play is that all these teams are above them. So I said, you beat NC State, you get in the top 15. You beat Clemson, you get in the top 10. You beat Wake Forest, you stay in the top 10. So there's a lot of opportunity here for Syracuse to be in control of their own destiny. Keep in mind, folks, if and when Syracuse wins this game in Death Valley, Syracuse would be first in the Atlantic Division, and they would have the right to the ACC championship game. So you have to look at it from that perspective, that if Syracuse wins this weekend, they have the keys to their future, and if they continue to win and move forward, they are the keeper of it. So this week has huge implications, because when this week is done, Syracuse, if they are the victor, will have the shot to control where they go from here and what happens. So, this is a huge moment that has ripple effects throughout the entire back half of the season for them. And it's such a big game. I said about Oronde Gadsden II, obviously his father, very successful in the NFL. I'd love to get your thoughts on Oronde, 6'5", over the middle, has been working. Isaac brought up the fact of why do they take him off the field on like third down situations when it works so good. But Arande has definitely found the end zone. He's come up huge in big time situations, in comebacks to games this season. He has been a force to be reckoned with. He scored his first career collegiate touchdown this season, had his first 100-yard receiving game this season, and people wouldn't know that because of how comfortable he's become. As a receiver in the history of this beautiful sport, how do you view Arande Gadsden, and what would you assess when you look at his game?
He's a all-around receiver. He's a big kid. He can pretty much, get the ball wherever it is. He can high point the ball. He's got great hands. He runs great routes. He's that guy for Schrader right now, and I think everyone knows it. The one thing I like about the way the offense is running with him in it is that they're putting him in positions to have favorable matchups. So they're moving him around, quite a bit, which I like. Last week a couple of times he came out of the backfield, which is a good thing, because then he'll have that matchup on a linebacker or a safety, which I don't think there's many linebackers or safeties in the country that can cover him. So, but yeah, he's stepped up. I think he's a pleasant surprise for everyone. Schrader's real comfortable throwing him the ball, knowing he's going to be in a place where he's supposed to be. So, and he makes big catches. We've seen it. And he's got the confidence right now. Basically you can see it in some post-game interviews where he basically is there knowing that, the plays that he's making, he feels he should be making. So that's actually a great thing to see. When a receiver has that confidence in himself, and is fairly humble about the whole thing, that's big things waiting to happen. And I'm pretty sure for the rest of the season, every other team is going to know exactly where he is on the field. Because they know he's probably the number one threat down the field at wide receiver. We all know that Sean Tucker's actually the number one guy. That most of the time the teams actually try to stack the box, and that's another reason why Rondé is actually having a pretty good season. So he's getting that one-on-one coverage down the field, and so moving forward, that's the three-headed monster that they have. Gadsden, Schrader, and Tucker. So if they can utilize that, for the rest of the season, that's also a great thing, to move forward down the stretch of this season.
Yeah, speaking here with Rob Carpenter, Syracuse wide receiver alum, speaking on how Arande Gadsden, the second's game is opened by Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker's opened by him. Garrett Schrader opened by the fact that people have to respect his passing ability and his rushing ability, and I never said he couldn't pass. I've been defending that he could for 2 years now, and maybe people are starting to come around. Why did I think he could pass? Because I saw him do it at times where a lot of people didn't see it, and it didn't have to do with the actual game itself. It was with other things that I was watching that were going on. And when I watched him, in those moments, I said, he's got a good zip on the ball. He can send it. There was just something that sat with me. I watched this game for a long time. I'd like to think I would know a thing or two at this point, and I just said, to the people that think he can't pass, that's your opinion, but it's not the truth. And, to be almost 70%, to grade out at least 2 weeks in a row this season as the highest rated quarterback in the entire country, what would Lamar Jackson say? Pretty good for a running back. So, it's been great to see Garrett Schrader's leadership. And you talk about, the injuries to the defense and guys that step up. And Rob, before I let you go, we look at this right now. Jadius Gear, JT Gear, my guy, Steve Linton, he's been sharing time with him. Gear's been getting to the quarterback, sniffed out the quarterback, and shared a sack with Caleb Okechukwu later on in this game against NC State. Kayvon Darton has done an incredible job. Somebody wrote to me after I did the show with him, Dan, is he a little bit undersized? I'm like, I don't know. I don't really care. I just watch how he plays football. This is a preferred walk-on who got a scholarship, earned his right to be in the two deep, and has filled up that middle to a point where I don't even think about it that much, which is a beautiful thing. Derek McDonald, who's definitely stepped up at linebacker. Michael Jones, we know who he is. Marlowe Wax, we know who he is. They've been tremendous. Garrett Williams, obviously an NFL talent here that scouts have already come to see, and I know that for a fact. Deuce Chestnut doing his thing on the other side. He's a guy who's going to get some NFL looks as well. Elijah Clark has definitely stepped it up at free safety. Justin Barron at Rover. Jihad Carter, who has put in a lot of work. And Isaiah Johnson, who filled in for when Garrett Williams went out and helped out in this game against NC State. And we didn't see much drop-off, and they continued to impress. Looking at this defense and looking at the strength of these guys, Rob, number one, the next man up approach and what you've seen from these gentlemen on the defense that Tony White has coached so well, in my opinion. So first and foremost, your thoughts on the overall defense, and then secondly, your thoughts on the fact that Syracuse knew they had won, were up 24-9, and played until the final whistle and did not allow a single score, not a field goal, not a touchdown at the end of the game, and just how they finished against NC State.
Well, we spoke up there. I said my only concern is the injuries on the defense. That's my only concern. As far as the guys playing, I have full confidence in these guys playing. They've shown up week after week, on the field, proving that they are a very formidable defense and can play with anyone. But all the names that you actually just mentioned, these guys are together. That just goes back to training camp, as I said, where the competition against the offense, but also competition within, the players themselves on the defense, vying for those top two spots. Each guy having a confidence in the next guy, whether it's a guy as a starter or a backup, goes a long way, because if a guy goes down, the next guy is up, and the other 10 guys are looking at the backup and saying, you belong here too. So, that's a great thing to have on a team, and it goes a long way when you get down in a game, as you just said, for guys to go down and you're trying to finish a game the way they finished NC State. They didn't give up a score. They played to the last seconds of the game. So when you see that takes a team effort, but also takes confidence in everyone that's actually out there, whether it's from the coaches, everyone in the school, the fans, the players themselves. And it's a great thing to see, man, when you actually see a team competing for 60 minutes and come out and basically shut a team down when no one thought you could.
Yeah, and that to see how they finish the game, it shows that even when they're up, they don't care about, they want to shut you down. They want to get out of that game without giving up a touchdown. They want to get out of that game on a high note, and that says a lot about it. They didn't lag. There's a lot of things that this team does that other teams in the recent past didn't do. They don't hang their heads. They don't. And I see games different, Rob, and I talked about this before, but Purdue and Virginia, I don't see it as, they barely won. Purdue gave them the game. Virginia just kind of stumbled into it, blah, blah. No, I don't see it that way. To go back to positive versus negative, I see those games as Syracuse commanded, went down, and were more resilient than Purdue, more resilient than Virginia, fought harder, did more, stayed focused, stayed within themselves, believed within themselves, controlled the controllables, didn't worry about what they couldn't control. I saw a Syracuse team that bent but did not break. I saw a Syracuse team that believed in each other. I saw a Syracuse team that was extremely resilient, confident, poised, and ready. That's how I saw the Purdue and Virginia games, and I'd love to get your thoughts on how you saw those games.
Same way. I mean, you can't make it any different. They fought. That's all they did. They fought from the opening kickoff to the final whistle, and that's a good thing to see. They are a 60-minute team, so you see it on both sides of the ball. Special teams, you really can't describe it anywhere else.
That coming here from Rob Carpenter. Rob, final note here, words to the team right now. As an alum, as a part of the Syracuse Brethren, what would you like to say to the guys as they get set for Death Valley?
Just keep doing what you're doing. You have confidence in yourself. Everyone else around you has confidence in you, and there's no reason to stop doing what you're doing right now. Just continue to play hard, play for 60 minutes, and good things will happen.
That coming from Rob Carpenter, Syracuse Orange wide receiver alum on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cubal studios. As always, Rob, I appreciate your time. Look forward to hopefully getting to see you soon, and more than anything, to get to sit on a couch with you and rep about some things here. I do want to make a note though, keep in mind this, folks. When Syracuse was an independent team back in the late 80s, early 90s, Rob Carpenter, your wide receiver, had over 1,600 receiving yards in 2 seasons alone, averaged almost 18 yards per catch, had 10 touchdowns in 2 seasons, and you could throw this at Sean Tucker, ran the ball 4 times for 83 yards for an average of 20.8 yards per carry. So, Rob, your numbers are pretty good. I think pretty good is an understatement, but you did all right at Syracuse.
Yeah, I think I did pretty good up there.
That coming from Rob. Rob, as always, I appreciate you, man. And you let me know when you're going after them Twitter trolls, bro. I'll join you in that battle because, when you fight people with facts, it's amazing how that doesn't work. But, facts are facts and other things are other things. But I appreciate everything that you've done. And more than anything else, I value your time. I value, our bond and our friendship. And it's just a really cool thing for me to be able to talk with people like yourself that have helped to build what Syracuse was and is supposed to be. So thank you for everything you do. And more than anything else, thank you for your time.
I appreciate you having me on there, man. You know how it is. It's always great talking to you.
All right, man. I'll talk with you soon. Stay safe and be well.
All right, you too.
All right, thanks. Take care. That coming from Rob Carpenter. One more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. I got to, Ross is coming on here in just a second. I got to address, we got a bunch of messages coming in here. I want to make sure I address these messages. I was writing one about the Big Ten, and I have to write more things. So, Michigan and Penn State being ranked in the top 10 going into their matchup this past week was a joke. It was a joke. It was just like, look at these 2 top 10 teams playing each other. Yeah, but who did they play? They were top 10 teams that played each other, but they were only top 10 ranked teams because the AP and the coaches poll ranked them there. So I'm just giving my thoughts here. And, you beat the teams in front of you. That's all you got to do. You beat the teams in front of you. And Penn State, they played nobody. They literally played nobody. And, yeah, it's like, well, they played Michigan. And Michigan has also played nobody. So it's, if you're going to sit here and say Syracuse played a bunch of unranked teams and got to play a bunch of games at home, yeah, Ohio State, same thing. Michigan, same thing. Penn State, same thing. And the difference, Ohio State gets 8 home games. So figure that one out for me. Well, maybe you could figure that out on the break here. We'll take a step aside. We'll come back with Ross Turetsky inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. MonPosPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' is giving you the list of topics for the day. And my studio is smelling good thanks to the great people at Witty Wicks. This is Namaste at Home. And whenever I smell this, I think about when I was a kid and I used to go to my friend's house and go swimming. Yeah, that's what Witty Wicks candles do. They bring back the good memories. So make sure you get out to Witty Wicks today, 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, right in front of Movie Tavern, and support local. And we appreciate you doing so. So with that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. When we come back around here, Ross Turetsky will be joining me inside of these beautiful Cafe Kubal studios to speak on his Yankees, the postseason overall, and of course there will be shenanigans right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cue Ball studios. I am always happy to be here with you, and I have only had incredibly interesting conversations with my good buddy Ross Turetsky, and we always have a great time. We've had a lot of interesting conversations off the air, one of them yesterday, and one of them literally during that fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So I don't even know how to describe what I just heard. I just know that it's real. I know that apparently it's part of parenting, and it's something to look forward to. So with that being said, I welcome my great buddy, good friend, fellow broadcaster and writer to the show. We're supposed to talk about the Yankees in the postseason. God only knows where we'll start, and Dunkaroos will be involved. Ross is on the broadcast. Ross Turetsky. Ross, how are we doing today?
Dunkaroos! LJ and Lulu yesterday were insane. Like, they almost sounded like they were crystal meth addicts. You need to get their fix, shouting, Dunkaroo, Dunkaroo, until they killed all my spirit. And then dropped F-bombs, so then the one had to go on the step for a while. And then I threatened to tell her karate sensei. She's like, don't tell the sensei. He doesn't need to know. And then she promised she would not say it again, so she didn't get in trouble with Sensei John. But it was literally an SHIT storm. I'll spell it out that way. And then LJ just now, after I cleaned him up before we started today, he comes up to me and just shows me his right hand full of poop and say, look, Daddy, I pooped. I'm like, you pooped in the last 2 minutes since I've changed you, and somehow it's just on your right hand, and he had to dig around there searching for golden nuggets. So that's kind of life as a parent, and it's beautiful. It's not always sunshine and rainbows, but it's well worth it.
Yeah.
And then LJ keeps saying, candy, candy. He wants his Halloween candy. It can't come soon enough. And, yeah. And then I got to watch a little bit of the Yankee playoff game on and off between karate class and them going crazy. And then tonight I'll try to watch some of the Yankee playoff game against the Houston Astros in the American League Championship Series. But I also have a volleyball game to cover at Penn State Scranton. So the adventures never end. But I'm happy to be with you. And it's a nice comforting distraction as I have my little boy who I just wiped his hand full of poop. And we're good to go.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you said sometimes it's sunshine and rainbows. Other times, it's Dunkaroos and poop. And, I mean, that's...
Just like life. Life is very much like that. You sunshine and rainbows one day.
Dunkaroo and poop.
It's like you're dipping your Dunkaroos in some poop instead of tasty ice in it. That's the kind of SHIT sandwich you have to eat every day. And just have to get through it and make the best of it, because that's what life is.
It's also funny to hear one of your best friends that's become your brother say to his child, where did this poop come from on your right hand? It's not on your left hand. And you can't touch your eye and be adventurous because you'll get pink eye, like how Daddy got pink eye when he had to clean you. They say that you say things to your children that you've never said before, and that usually it's like negotiating a hostage situation. But yeah, I mean, I heard it yesterday, and I would have loved folks to play you the 5 minutes that there was a 5-minute span on the phone with Ross that I just wanted to play you that entire experience. LJ impersonated Britney Spears. He went outside barefoot and he was trying to eat pills out of a purse. So, very, very Britney in the past. Hopefully not Britney in the present. God bless to Britney. We're just joking. But, yeah, I've definitely learned a lot about my niece and my nephew in a very short amount of time. And it makes me think about if Ross and Abby ever said, hey, can you watch the kids? Just what I would have to be prepared for.
Oh, anything. You don't know what they're capable of. If you have anything, if you have even Dayquil on your Claritin, lock that stuff up because they just think everything is candy. So they thought mommy's ibuprofen was candy. So I had to put everything at higher elevation so they can't reach it. And that's what we do with Dunkaroos, and they tried to climb up to get them, but luckily they weren't successful. But eventually they broke my spirit down enough where I said, even though they were acting like crazy maniacs, after dinner, if they just eat some dinner, I will give it to them so I could get some peace and quiet and some silence and watch the end of the Yankee playoff game, which, nice segue, they beat the Cleveland Guardians 5-1. They win the ALDS.
The Cleveland who? Sorry.
The Guardians, yes. I know a lot of the broadcasters keep calling them their old name that was for over 100 years, and now they are very much so the Guardians. And they gave the Yankees a run for their money with a much smaller payroll and with a lot of no-name guys you've never heard of. But Cleveland's a good, solid team. The Yankees 5-1 right off the bat. First thing we were on the phone during the Dunkaroo craziness. Giancarlo Stanton 3-run bomb to right field. They're up 3-0 in the beginning. Nestor Cortez on 3 days rest. Pitch on short rest. Pitch great. 5 solid innings. Only 1 run. Then Aaron Judge, who had been slumping, crushed a home run. Rizzo had RBI single. They made some nice defensive plays, and then they kept shouting out at Josh Naylor, who the other day acted like a buffoon when he hit a home run, even though they were still losing after the home run and lost the game, off Garrett Cole in Cleveland. He pretended he was rocking the baby while he was running the bases, so they kept shouting out like they did with Pedro Martinez back then, who was on, coincidentally enough, on the TBS coverage, who's saying, who's your daddy, like they used to say with Pedro when they crushed him on the Red Sox. So they kept shouting, who's your daddy, as Josh Naylor of Cleveland went 0 for 4, and even the final out of the game, they flipped the ball shortstop, Kiner Falefa, to Gleyber Torres, G-Baby at second. And what did he do when he stepped on the bag? Right in their face. He did the rock the baby motion. And basically he's like, you're going to watch us on TV. We're moving on. And now you can get some sleep. You can sleep like a baby for the offseason because we've put you to bed. So now this is no baby. Yankees win. They're victorious. And they show Josh Naylor in Cleveland who truly is their daddy. But now the true test comes because their arch nemesis, the guys who cheated with garbage trash cans possibly had buzzers on their shirts. Jose Altuve allegedly might have had to let him know what pitch was coming when they won. In 2015, they won an AL wildcard game to knock the Yankees out. 2017, they won 7-game series, classic series against the Yankees to go to the World Series, the ALCS. Cheated. Then 2019, cheated again, beat the Yankees in 6 games. And now for the third time in the ALCS, with just 4 games to go, 4 wins away from going to the World Series, the Yankees, who have not been in the World Series since 2009 when they beat the Phillies, potentially you might see another Yankee-Philly World Series this year. Games to go, 4 wins away from going to the World Series. The Yankees, who have not been in the World Series, and we just celebrated as the Yankees on November 4th, 2009, won the World Series in their first year of the new Yankee Stadium, and the old George Steinbrenner, who was only alive for a few more months, got to see them win one more championship, and we might see another Yankees-Phillies series. Phillies are doing well. They beat the Padres last night 2-0. Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper playing great, Zach Wheeler pitching great, Aaron Nola pitching tonight, their other ace. 2-0 over the Padres. They're 1-0 series lead, 3 wins away from knocking the Padres off because all hell broke loose in the National League. The Dodgers with 111 wins, one of the greatest regular season teams of all time. They got knocked out by the Padres, who the Dodgers dominate the Padres all season long. And what happens in a crazy short 5-game series? Just like that, a flip of a hat, the Dodgers lose 3 in a row after win game 1 of their series, losing 4 games. And then the Braves, who edged out the Mets with the head-to-head matchup, won 101 games. They got knocked out in 4 games by the Phillies. So now you have 2 wild card teams who are going to start on the road whoever does go to the World Series. They're going to fight for the World Series. The Phillies look like they're the team to beat to go to the World Series at the National League. And then you're going to have, with no day's rest, no travel day, they had to travel to the wee hours of the night after they celebrated knocking off Cleveland in New York. Because they got rained out on Monday, they traveled to Houston where the Astros have been rested. They're ready to go. Justin Verlander, the Cy Young Award winner, who's going to probably win that award this year. The ace, after missing 2 years with injuries, going to pitch tonight against Jameson Taillon. First postseason start, Yankees, Astros. Can the Yankees tame the beast? And that Achilles heel, that kryptonite that has constantly knocked the Yankees out in recent years, can the Yankees finally get that big burden off their back, knock the Astros off once and for all, which you hope they're not cheating this time. And the Astros, even when they're not cheating, they still find a way to win. And they haven't won a World Series in the 5 years since they won it over the Dodgers cheating. But they've been to the World Series a bunch just last year, losing to the Braves. Can the Yankees tame that beast and get back to the World Series first time in 13 years? That's the ultimate question. I hope they can finally do it and knock the Astros off. It's going to be one heck of a series. It's how it should be. 1 versus 2 seed in the American League. The National League is a bunch of wild cards craziness. The top 2 teams who've won the last 2 World Series and faced each other in the championship series 2 years in a row. Braves and Dodgers are out. Yankees, Astros, 1 versus 2 seed, starting off in Houston, starts tonight. And there's only going to be 1 day off in the series on Friday before they go back to New York. So it's going to be a war of nutrition. How can you get through it without much day's rest? How is the bullpen going to be rested? Who's going to be able to playing almost every day? And the Yankees are going to be running on fumes with no time off. Are the Astros well rested, going to be beating them again, and they have the confidence with the Yankees year after year? Or do the Yankees finally get off the mat and they start punching back like Rocky Balboa and finally win? So that's the ultimate test. So I think that's a good segue from poop and Dunkaroos to who's going to the World Series that starts on Friday, October 28th, next Friday.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe it is the Atlanta Braves and the Dodgers ended the season with poop on their hands, and the Astros and the Yankees got some Dunkaroos after just refusing to give up. So, like your children, they refused to give up, and so did the Astros and the Yankees. Watching the game last night, a 3-run home run in the first inning means that the starting pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians lasts only a third of an inning, one of the fastest ways to see somebody go out. What were your thoughts on that, of changing that? And did the Mets goof when they had their opportunity a series before, when they decided to keep their pitcher in after giving up so many runs?
Yeah, I definitely think do or die situation, you have to go with your best. I know the Mets were trying to get through it. I'm sure they had tired arms. And the Mets, unfortunately, even though they had 101 wins, they lost some bad games to some stinky teams getting swept by the Cubs late in the season. And then they just had to win 1 game in Atlanta the last weekend of the season and couldn't win one, so they had to play in the wild card series. But then even the Braves, who ended up winning the division, were well rested. They fell short. I think in the end, it's just a lot to do with, if you're struggling, you have to get the right guys in. This is a bullpen game. Cleveland really should have made this bullpen by committee. And also another thing is the Yankees were willing to push Nestor Cortes, their star pitcher who came out of nowhere last year, pitching great with the glorious mustache and the funky delivery and the leg kick. They were willing to let him pitch on short rest, on only 3 days rest, instead of the normal 4 days rest pitch on the 5th day. Where, meanwhile, Cleveland's ace, Shane Bieber, who won the Cy Young Award in the 2020 pandemic year, they were not willing to let him pitch. They had him in the bullpen ready to go. He did not pitch last night. I'm surprised. They're they're afraid because he has arm injury problems in the past. But really, in a do-or-die game, at least let Shane Bieber, your best, go the first 2 or 3 innings so the Yankees maybe don't hit a 3-run home run off of you. Because even though it was only a 4-run game, that 3-run home run basically effectively ended the game, took all the pressure off the Yankees that they might lose at home with this pressure-packed situation, a game they're supposed to win in a do-or-die, win-or-go-home situation. Where at least they had their ace going, and maybe he gave them, even in a short rest, a solid 2 or 3 innings to start the game, then maybe they're off on a good foot. And then they have a star closer who pitched later in the game. They have a pretty solid bullpen. They could have, I'm glad as a Yankee fan they didn't do this way. They could have been a lot tougher. Meanwhile, the Yankees switched from James Tyone to Nestor Cortes after the rainout, let him pitch on 3 days rest, and he pitched great, and then the bullpen was affected after 5 innings. Cleveland was not willing to go with their best change-up pitchers. They went with the exact same pitcher who was going to throw Monday night in the rainout, and he had almost a 5 ERA in the regular season, and he got destroyed. He got one guy out, gave the 3-run homer, and basically the game was effectively over. The bullpen tried to keep the game close. They did a decent job of doing that, but really, Cleveland, I know that they're a small market team. They're trying to do their best with very few resources, but really they could have went with their strong bullpen, openers like Tampa Bay does, low budget teams does, and they were not willing to go with their best, Shane Bieber. They were afraid if the game was played today on normal rest, they would have been willing to start him. But in the end, they were not willing to go with their best on short rest. The Yankees were. He was effective. Cleveland starter was not, and in the end, that made the biggest difference. So I was very surprised to see that. But basically, that 3-run homer, the crowd went crazy. Then they started doing the rocking the baby stuff. Then Judge hit a home run. Nestor was pitching great. That crowd was going crazy. Even on the streets after the game, they showed video. The celebration, that crowd is ready to explode. Because remember, they did not have a home playoff game for 3 years. Because 2020, they had to play on neutral fields because of the pandemic. Last year, they had the one-game wild card in Boston. They got eliminated when Garrett Cole struggled. Garrett Cole, by the way, pitched great in this series, winning the 2 games, saving their season when they were facing elimination on Sunday night in Game 4, and then had the guts to then offer and was warming up in Game 5 last night. If Wandy Peralta and Clay Holmes struggled in the late innings, he was ready to go to try to close out that game on only 1 day's rest. So in the end, Cleveland was not willing to push their pitcher, Shane Bieber, and Garrett Cole showing that he has the heart of a champion. Basically, is and all the scrutiny he's faced in New York when he's not perfect. Say, not only will I dominate, I'm willing to come back on almost no days rest. On Monday, he was willing to pitch on no days rest, saying, I'll give you whatever I have to Aaron Boone, his manager. And he's willing to put his career on the line, his arm on the line, and all the injuries that could potentially happen, pitch on short rest. And the Yankees were willing to do it. Cleveland wasn't. And you saw the final results. In the end, the Yankees persevered, where I think if Cleveland would have went with their best, the Yankees might have had some trouble, and then we might have saw an upset.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the Yankees. I mean, for goodness sakes, they've had to have no break when they had to travel to Cleveland. They've had no break in traveling to Houston. They've really had to, run this gauntlet.
Get the retractable dough. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In New York,
you're in New York, and when you start the season in the middle of the winter, I mean, the Mets and the Yankees and anybody in the North should have a retractable roof.
Especially if it's a new stadium. That's the thing. If it's an old stadium that's 100 years old, I can understand. You have rich owners. The Mets have the richest owner in baseball, and Steve Cohen. Yeah. They could add one on. The Yankees have the Rich Steinbrenner family. If you're building a new stadium in the Northeast, why not put a retractable roof? When it's a nice day, let them play outside, which is how it's supposed to be. On a crappy day, why let weather affect the series? And in the end, it worked out for the Yankees. But the rainouts screwing over the fans who on Monday night had to sit through like a 2.5-hour rain delay. And then
they got rid of it,
You had something going on that night. You're thinking you're missing the game. And then at like 9:45, they're like, oh, it's not going to happen because even if the weather stops, we don't want to start a game on the East Coast after 10 o'clock at night because it won't end to 1 in the morning. So, and meanwhile, they made the fans pay for parking and merchandise And I've been at the Yankee Stadium. Those expensive $20 chicken buckets with greasy, disgusting, wet French fries and chicken tenders. That food is disgusting. But you pay top dollar for it, and they're ripping fans off. And then in the end, and in the playoffs, it's really
you get the fans to essentially come there and eat dinner and drink instead of going to a restaurant, and you get 2.5 hours of their money. So you hold them for almost 3 hours in a rain delay, but you still get sales in beer, in regular drinks, in food, and in merchandise. So they get to have 2 games when it comes down to merchandise sale, food and beer and drinks. And in reality, the fans only got to see 1 game, but the owner gets to see the money of 2 games, which is not fair.
And some don't even, because in the playoffs, it's really bad. During the regular season, if there's a rain out, you could try to make up a game later in the season, try to get tickets of equal value, especially if you're local. This year, never mind if you're not from the area and you have to leave the next day and you have no chance. It went from a game that's supposed to start at 7:37 on Monday night, or 7:07 on Monday night. The game then was pushed after you wait all these hours in the rain. It's wasting all your money. The game was put to 4:07 in the afternoon. Just like on Thursday, the game got rained out and was pushed to Friday at 1:07. And they even say Major League Baseball makes this policy, not even the Yankees. It's not fair. They said that you can come back the next day for when that playoff game is moved, whatever time, even if it's early in the afternoon, even though you have work that time, you were ready to go at night, and you were maybe not free to go in the afternoon. If you don't go to that 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock made-up afternoon game, your ticket is garbage then. Unless you could sell your ticket to someone else, you have to show up for that game at that exact time. Whenever they want to do it, arbitrarily move the game, because your ticket is only good for that time, and otherwise else, you lose all the money you spent on all the merchandise and the food and the drinks, and you lose money where you maybe don't get to go to the game because maybe you're stuck at work and you have no way to call off early, especially if you left early the day before to go to a game that never was played, and then after getting screwed over for 3 hours, no game, you maybe can't even come the next day. So I feel for the fans. They got a raw deal, but I'm glad the Yankee fans who were there were loud, they were excited, and in the end, the Yankees were victorious. But they really gave them a crap sandwich and put them through the ringer the other night.
And you got to think about it like this, too. If you decide to, I mean, you got to think about traffic and everything to get to Yankee Stadium and all this. And
school
right,
too.
yeah. And you're like 4 o'clock, and what if your kid gets out at 2:30, and then driving takes you an hour and a half to go 5 miles? So, I mean, it's a ridiculous situation. I think about it like this. If Syracuse didn't, I've always been a proponent for a retractable roof. If Syracuse didn't have a retractable roof, they wouldn't be able to play. They'd have to postpone like half the season in football, because it could snow in October, it could snow in November, and whatnot. I mean, and what if and when that were to happen, it's 12 degrees outside. It could be a crazy storm. It could be 2 feet of snow. So, I just look at, if you're in the Northeast, you need to have some type of retractable roof situation. And if you're the Yankees or the Mets, I don't want to hear we don't have the money for it. Just like I don't want to hear from Syracuse the same thing, which I thought was hilarious. Syracuse was like, well, we're going to do dome upgrades, but we need help from the community, and we need donors because we're poor. And I was like...
The Yankees are the richest team in all sports, in any sport. That's over the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, over Manchester United in soccer. The Yankees are valued as the richest team in all of sports in the whole freaking world. So don't cry poverty. They're the ones who built a new stadium with their own money, complained that I'm sure there was kickbacks and all this other stuff to build a beautiful new stadium in New York. Why did you not put a roof over it? Like I said, retractable roof is the best of both worlds, where on a nice day, let Mother Nature breathe in the fresh air, how baseball was intended to play, but on a stinky day, why let weather screw over the fans and mess up a playoff schedule when it doesn't need to happen? You had the money. You refused to do it because you're like, nah, we'll just chance it and cross our fingers and hope the weather cooperates. Well, in the Northeast, especially when baseball now, all the way through the World Series, goes into the first week of November. Eventually, it's going to go to Thanksgiving if they keep pushing it back and adding playoff series and playoff teams. What do you expect is going to happen? And then you start the season, opening day after spring training starts in February in Florida. March 30th is scheduled for opening day in New York, Yankees versus Giants, San Francisco Giants. You think it's going to be warm that day? I don't think so. It's going to be cold and maybe some snow flurries when it's not even April yet and you're starting games off in the Northeast. So you might have to cancel games to begin the season as well. So put the roof on, add a roof if you have to, and they don't want to, and it just makes it's common sense. But I'm glad the Yankees did well. I'm glad the fans who were able to show up were pumped and excited. But the fans who couldn't make it the next day,
ridiculous.
Who got the shaft, who were.
What if you came from out of town? What if you were from out of town? What if you could literally only go that day? What if you took your kid after school and you can't take your kid out of school the next day? So, now, what if you went, but your son or your daughter couldn't go? What if you were going on...
Could they be jealous?
Yeah, I mean, it's just... It's not fair. It's not right. And I understand that weather can affect any game, but...
That was the annoying thing. For about 3 hours, Yankee Stadium gave no updates.
Well, we were at Pizza Man. We were at Pizza Man, and one of the guys that was there, he goes, yeah, you were doing your podcast, and he's like, this thing, he's like, we're sitting here waiting for the game, and he's like, they're just sitting there for 2.5 hours, and there was no notice. It was like, we'll see. Yeah. We're waiting. It was like 9 o'clock, and they're like, nah, we're still going to figure it out. Like 9:45, they're making a decision. For a 7:07
maybe by 9 o'clock the rain will break. And then Brian Cash, the Yankees GM, was basically saying that our weather forecast, our Doppler radar kept saying by 9 o'clock would be over. We can quickly get the field fixed because we have the tarp on and get it dry. And even if it's late, this way we keep the day off, the travel day off. But the next day, we're going to try to play, even if it's at 9:30, might go to 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. The funny memes, like imagine a game, a winner take all, do or die, or you go home series being decided at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on like an Aaron Judge home run where no one's there to see it or everyone's asleep. You have to wake someone up. So that all that's happening. And then finally, after it was pushed and there was all these rumors on Twitter, 9:30 might start. They were so confident the rain is going to stop. We're going to get this game in tonight because we want to keep that off day in. And as later it got, I'm like, they're not going to start a game at 10:30. It's not like the game started and they're going to continue. Then they would have played. They're not going to start a game that late. They want to get good ratings for a winner-take-all Game 5. TBS doesn't want, and Major League Baseball doesn't want to waste the game where no one's going to watch it late at night besides the West Coast. The East Coast, which is the bulk of your audience, is not going to be there, especially New York fans. So in the end, I really thought they're going to screw over the fans. They're going to keep pushing it back. They gave no updates. And then finally at 9:45, they're like, yeah, this is not happening. We'll see you at 4 o'clock tomorrow. It's not fair. And these are fans who busted their butt to get there, and they started to make a long commute home, spent tons of money, and then, maybe they weren't all able to come back tomorrow. So it is heartbreaking if that is the case. There should at least be a way where you can get your money back, or at least a percentage of your money back, because I think that's ludicrous that if you can't make the game that very next day, whenever time they decide to put it, you thought you were going to a 7:30 game, the next day it could be a 1 o'clock game. You might not be able to make that. And your kid might not be able to make that. You'll have broken their heart. I think that part, even as a lifelong Yankee fan, I know the Yankees say it's not really their fault. It's Major League Baseball decides playoff games. Well, between the Yankees, which is the biggest team in all of sports, never mind baseball, and Major League Baseball Commissioner Ron Manfred and the other owners, they need to fix that because they are not putting fans first. They screwed them over. They delayed the year with the lockout where they almost didn't have baseball this year, and now they're screwing them over with bad weather and just changing the starts of games. And the fans are the ones who lose. And it's supposed to be about the fans, and in the end, it shows that it usually is not. It's whatever makes them the almighty dollar, and they don't really care about the fans.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you bring up a great point in the backdrop of a fantastic win that sends the Yankees into the ALCS, that, there's the fans that suffer, and everybody that has to deal with these rain delays, and can they make the game, and what if they can't make the time, and all this money, and they don't get it back, and nobody's going to give them the money back. And I remember I went with my dad to the first Yankee game that we had gone to, and this might have been when we went to Yankee Stadium for the Pinstripe Bowl, the first one, and my dad and I got chicken fingers and fries from Nathan's, and I was like, where are the chicken fingers? There was 3 little mini fingers buried in a sea of fries, and it was like, that'll be $14. And then my dad, and my dad got coffee. Yeah, I remember it being like the fries are wet. And my dad got a coffee, and I go, Dad, tell him what size. He goes, they know the size. I go, no, they don't. They gave him like a commemorative cup with the coffee for like $10. So I'm like, Dad, you just spent $24 on 3 chicken fingers that are maybe the size of my pinky, a ton of wet fries, and a coffee that you're not going to be able to finish for the next 3 days. So like, it was insane. And then I looked at the Philly cheesesteak, and this was years ago, and the New York State strip Philly cheesesteak was like $17.99, and it was on a cart. And I said, I never thought in a million years there should be a price ceiling on a cart. If you're at a food cart, that cart should not go beyond $5. and you're at this, like, it's literally like a cart in the corner. There's no lights. They're probably plugged in somewhere, and they're not even like near anything. This isn't a real kitchen. There's this like little cart that's off on the side from Nathan's selling Philly cheesesteak New York strips for $17.99 with this tiny little station. And I'm going, yeah, no. If it's the size of a hot dog cart, I'm paying $3. If I'm paying more than $3, I'm not buying it. So I don't know what Yankee Stadium thought they were going to be, but I'm going to say something that people might get pissed about. Nathan's, your fries and your chicken tenders are not good. And the New York strip thing, if you want to charge $5 for it, but if you want to charge $17.99 for your establishment that's by the bathroom, I'm good.
It's ludicrous. I feel like those fries and the chicken tenders, that, yeah, basically they throw 3 of them and they hide them under the fries. I feel like they're pre-licked, that someone who works there is licking your fries individually, putting them in a greasy bucket and saying, $20, please. I'm like, are you insane?
Yeah.
It's just
all I know is that it leaves me at Yankee Stadium going, Dunkaroos! So, like, that's what I want. I will tell you, and I told you.
You said there's no Dunkaroos in
there's
Syracuse. none. I know your birthday's coming up on Friday.
There's
You'll be
none.
37. We're only the same age for 2 more days. I'm going to send you some Dunkaroos because you'll be the belle of the ball. Everyone in Syracuse, all the men and ladies will be envious of Dan Tortora when he's the only person in the 315 in Syracuse who has Dunkaroos.
Will you pre-lick them or no?
If you want, I'll do that free of charge just because of your birthday. Police cumpleaños aquí for free. You get to have some pre-licked Dunkaroos.
And no, but it's the craziest thing. Like, we haven't had Dunkaroos in Syracuse for like over 2 decades. And I remember I was dating a girl when we were at Marywood, and I went to go visit her family, and she worked at ShopRite in New Jersey. And I went into ShopRite one day, and I was just kind of walking around because I think I had brought her to work, and I went, what the heck is this? And I'm looking at like the thing, and I was like, you have Dunkaroos? She's like, yeah. And I was like, what are you talking? I was like, we don't have, I said, the ones I wanted the straw, the vanilla frosting with the sprinkles in it, because that was like the the Cadillac of Dunkaroos. And then there was like the chocolate one, and I said, she goes, you don't have it? I go, what? She goes, you don't have that one? I said, we don't have Dunkaroos. I said, just like oatmeal swirl when I was a kid, Dunkaroos died to the people of Syracuse, and now you're telling me, like I'm watching General Hospital or Days of Our Lives or some soap opera, that anything that I thought was dead is not dead, it's just living in another place. And so they're alive and well in New Jersey. I didn't know they were alive and well in Pennsylvania. Apparently, the only place that doesn't have Dunkaroos is the state of New York. And I guess, you know what? For everything else I've had to thank him for, I'll thank Cuomo for that. But, I'll thank him for the fact...
I get a truck full at Sam's Club. I'll tell you, I have more than we know what to do with. So
I can't deal with it, Ross. I haven't had Dunkaroos in 20 years. When your kids were jonesing for them like crack addicts last night, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't have sworn at you. But I definitely would have snuck one when you were in the bathroom. I would have went and found one. While you had poop on your hands, I would have got my Dunkaroos. So, I don't know what life would have been. I mean, seriously, what would my life have been like if I had Dunkaroos? I wonder in that Marvel multiverse, there's a Dan somewhere, Dan Tortora, living in the world who had Dunkaroos every day. I had a wonderful childhood. I wonder what his would have been like. And just going back and seeing these moments where there were no Dunkaroos in my life and thinking they were gone, thinking that they didn't exist anymore, and then finding out that they're happy and well living somewhere else it's really tough for me. It's hard for me to stomach because oatmeal swirl, I lost, and they used to mess with me. They used to literally send coupons to the house, and here in Syracuse, they would send the coupons to the house. And every once in a while, they would have oatmeal swirl. And my mom would be like, oh my God, well, if there's a coupon, we got to go get it. And I have the best mom in the world. So we'd run to the store. There'd be no oatmeal swirl. We go to the next one. They're like, no, we haven't sold that in a while. The last time I saw an oatmeal swirl coupon, it was a year and a half after they had stopped selling oatmeal swirl. And we went to the store with the coupon. And I don't know if there's more PTSD moments than that one for me, where I was like, I walk into the store and it's a year and a half later and I'm like, oh my gosh, they brought them back. They heard me. They listened to me. They understood how I was feeling. Back then, you couldn't tweet about it or send a Facebook message. You had to write a letter or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, somebody heard me in the cosmos. And we went back there, and they're like, no, that was an error. And I was like, well, you need to go make me some oatmeal swirl because you just broke my heart a year and a half after my heart was broken. It's like dating somebody you broke up with just to find out they're the same person still. So it was heartbreaking. Oatmeal swirl and the Dunkaroos. And now that Dunkaroos exist, yeah, I need to get some. I didn't know that I could just cross the border into Pennsylvania, which also is when I'm in Pennsylvania and Florida, my other two homes, when I went down to Pennsylvania and I go to like grab a couple drinks at the gasoline, little supermarket thing, and I walk in there and they're like, do you want it in a bag? And I look at her and I'm like, yeah. And she puts it in a plastic bag and I'm like, can I keep this? And she's like, yeah. She's like, you want another one? I was like, heck yeah, I do. Don't talk dirty to me. And she gets me another bag. And so what I do is I go down to Florida and Pennsylvania and I hoard plastic bags because that's what you use for your bathroom, your little bathroom, your bathroom trash cans. And they're like, oh, Dan, you can buy those. No, heck no. That's a racket at Walmart and Target. I'm not buying bags for my trash cans. Anybody knows, my family's been like this for generations. You go to the grocery store and you repurpose your plastic bags from the grocery store as your bathroom trash can bags. So,
doing it for ages.
Right. So I have to go and hoard them in Pennsylvania. Like, and you got to see me. You got to see it. When I go to Pennsylvania and Florida, you would think that somebody handed me a gold nugget. You would think someone handed me like the rookie card of Babe Ruth signed by Babe Ruth. When I get a plastic bag, I go, are these for me? And I hoard them and I put them away. And I have so many right now. And Cuomo allegedly wanted to get rid of plastic bags to prevent pollution. And I said, these are New Yorkers. If you take away something they pollute the earth with, they'll pollute the earth with something else. So the reality of it, and I've been to New York and I've walked the streets, folks, and there's crap on the ground. So, I mean, I'll be real with you. Plastic bags are not the problem. People are the problem. And everybody else gets to use plastic bags. So when I go to Pennsylvania and I go to Florida and I talk to someone who hands me a plastic bag, I go, it's good to see this. And they look at me and I go, it's good to know that some states in the union are still free.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the first Zombieland movie where he thought Twinkies were gone forever. Woody Harrelson's kind of badass character. Yeah. So when finally Jesse Eisenberg, the nerdy geek in the movie, shows him Twinkies, he's like crying his eyes out because he's like, the other Twinkies he's had, they're all basically, they're not there anymore in a zombie apocalypse, or they've spoiled. There's maggots inside. So when he got that Twinkie, it's the little things you got to appreciate, just like in life. Yeah. Just like with Dunkaroos and poop. You got to appreciate the little things. And when he had that tasty sweet nectar of the gods from the Twinkie people from Hostess, he was crying. He had tears of joy. So that's how it will be when you get to devour your first Dunkaroo in the last 2 decades. So it's going to be a great scene. And I hope to see your person crying with tears of joy to be a 37-year-old man about to celebrate his birthday and having your first taste of Dunkaroo in over 20 years.
People are like, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, get me some Dunkaroos and don't use wrapping paper. Wrap it in a plastic bag. Wrap it in a plastic bag, baby. That's what I want. So to the people of New York, and I was told this yesterday, somebody said this to me. They're like, you should run for office. And it was after someone else had said it, and it was after last week when I was making a bunch of statements, and when I finished making the statement, it sounded like something you would kind of like, drum roll to and lead all the way into saying I'm running for office. And so I said going into break, I was like, well, I guess a good time as any to tell you that I'm running for an office right now. But I mean, I want the people of New York, I'm going to look at the camera when I say this. People of New York, hear me and hear me now. I know that we've been through a lot. I know that we've struggled. I know that this COVID has been a jerk and a half. I know that restaurants being closed and businesses being closed and then seeing things reopen that were corporate, that served the government and not so much the people, and that we had to sit here and wait for small businesses to reopen when they were disrespected and pushed down and people that do things the right way and work very hard and a lot of times within their family to build these businesses, that they were the ones that were disrespected at a time where we had no control. We've had our bags taken away from us. We have, and I have so many paper bags and nothing to do with them. It makes me want to throw them in a river, just like you would a plastic bag. I won't. I'm kidding. I would never throw a paper bag in the river. I'm just saying, when you have bags and you want to throw them out, it doesn't matter if they're paper or plastic. But anyways, I digress. We've had our bags taken away from us. We've had our Dunkaroos taken away from us. And at times we've felt like we've had our freedom taken away from us. So let me stand here today with the people of New York and tell you, there is a place over the rainbow where Dunkaroos exist, plastic bags are free and aplenty, and people can frolic and be exactly who they are. To my people of New York, hear me and hear me good. If elected, I will do anything in my power whenever I run for something to bring back plastic bags and Dunkaroos. But just so you know, as I am a man of the people, there is a reason to believe. And that reason is knowing that other states have plastic bags and they trust their people to throw them out instead of wrapping them around a duck's neck. They also trust you to eat Dunkaroos and dispose of it accordingly. I don't know what Cuomo was thinking. I don't know what New York State's plan was, but to take away the hopes and the dreams and the happiness of people. And at this point in life, I don't know what would make me happier, a plastic bag or Dunkaroos. I think it's an even tie, and I can tell you with my heart that I will do everything in my power to make sure that we all get to enjoy plastic bags and Dunkaroos, even if you have to come to my house and go to my basement, and we have to hide these, turn off Alexa, and share them with each other in hopes that New York State doesn't find out that we too like to live free. That is my message, paid for by the people of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media.
Dan Tortora approves of this message. Hey, midterms are coming up. Election day is finally here, November 8th, so you can finally stop all the negative ads, the campaign ads that are flooding your TV and radio and the internet and all that. So, hey, it's a message to believe in. Dan Tortora, you'd have my vote. So, yeah, I think message received, message approved. So, very excited about that. Oh, I wanted to also add my predictions for the Championship Series of the World Series. I'm going to say the Phillies are going to stay hot. Padres will sneak one win in this. It's a weird format. It's best of 7, not best of 3 or best of 5, like the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
The Championship Series and World Series best of 7, so first of 4 wins. First 2 games are at the home stadium with the home field advantage for the team with the better record. And games 3, 4, and 5 are for the road team. And then they get to be home for the team with the lesser record. And then game 6 and 7 is back to home field advantage for the top seed. So I'm going to go with the Phillies already won. This was before they won last night. I predicted that even on your poll that you were put on Facebook. So you should definitely give your replies to Dan's poll on Facebook and on all that social media. I'm going to say the Phillies win the series 4-1. They win it in 5 games. Padres only win 1 game. Phillies get to the first World Series since 2009. When they were trying to repeat as champions after winning in 2008, you got to see their trophy. And back when you were working in Pennsylvania, they fell short and lost to the Yankees in 2009, but won the World Series in 2008. I say the Phillies win in 5 games. They go to the World Series, stay hot. The Yankees, I think, maybe it's just me as a Yankee fan, but I think the Yankees finally get it done. I think they slayed the dragon. They slayed the beast. They finally beat the Astros in a classic game that's going to go to the 7th game, do or die, winner take all 7th game on the road in Houston, Texas. I think the Yankees win 7 games with the Astros. Yankees-Phillies rematch in the 2009 World Series. And in the end, I'm going to go with the Yankees winning the World Series just like they did over the Phillies in 2009, 13 years ago, in 6 games over the Phillies, clinching it at home at Yankee Stadium. Yankees over the Phillies in 6 games. So Phillies and Yankees beat the Padres and Astros respectively, and then I go with Yankees over the Phillies in 6 games for the Yankees to win their first World Series title in 13 years. That's my prediction. I'd love to hear what yours is.
Yeah, my prediction and thank you, for the ALCS, I have the Yankees staying hot, and I have the Yankees defeating the Astros. Listen, at some point, good has to win, and with a team that cheated and got to keep their trophy, which is insane, I cannot sit here idly by and pick it. Now,
stripped that World Series title.
Yeah.
And then it really taught a lesson for other teams in the future that if you do this again, there's actual repercussions. Instead, the commissioner of baseball, Rob Manfred, he said it's not a big deal. It's just a piece of metal, the World Series trophy. Well, for many fans and players,
if it's not a big deal, then why do you play 162 games and the playoffs with 30 franchises? You just said that your league is not a big deal. So it's what everybody's playing for.
Worthless. People live and die, blood, sweat, and tears, the fans and the players, to get that trophy is more than a piece of metal. It means the world to so many people.
People travel across the country and the world just to touch the trophy that I got to see. Like when the Phillies had that. The trophy literally goes on tour like a musician would. And it goes all over the country. And if you want to see the trophy, it'll make a stop in Philadelphia. It's making a new stop in Des Moines, Iowa. Oh, it's going to be out in Houston, Texas. It's ridiculous that he would say something stupid like that. But when you have a commissioner of baseball that promotes cheating, as he did, this is what I would have done. If I was Rob Manfred and I was the commissioner of baseball, I would have stripped them of their trophy. I would have stripped them of their championship. And everyone on that roster that season, including all the management and front office, I would ban them from baseball for an entire season. So they would have to watch 29 other franchises play as they made no money and didn't get to play the game they love. Because the only way to teach somebody a lesson is to take it away from them.
And the players got
That's what I
away
would have
with
done.
it. The only ones who got in trouble is the manager of the Astros got fired. Their bench coach got fired, even though eventually he got hired by the Red Sox. And he had to sit back a year and then got the job back to the Red Sox. And even the Astros manager, A.J. Hinch, the Astros fired him even with all the success and the cheating. And then a year later, when he was allowed to come back to baseball after just a one-year ban, he now is the manager of the Detroit Tigers. They're losing a bunch of games. They'll probably get fired soon from that job for not being successful. But both of the guys are managing in baseball with the Red Sox and Tigers, A.J. Hinch.
Yeah, let's see how successful they are when they're not cheating.
They have not suffered the consequences, and not one player has been suspended or got in trouble. And basically, they just are very vague. They just said, we're sorry, but we don't really want to say what we're sorry about.
Yeah. We're sorry about the thing that we did that we didn't do that we're not going to admit to doing. It's like somebody, I basically look at the Houston Astros as Shaggy. He got caught in the shower. He got caught on the bed. He got caught on the counter, but it wasn't him. So, that's, the Houston Astros are the Shaggy of baseball, and I like Shaggy. I'm not going to go with the Astros in this one because it was you. You did do it. I'm picking the Yankees in this one. My polls right now on Twitter that Ross alluded to, you can go vote right now. We put up polls all the time. Go to Twitter, click follow. It takes not even 5 seconds. Go to Twitter, create an account unless you got one already. Go to @CallDT, that's CALLDT. Click follow and vote in my polls. Who will win the ALCS? 64.7% of you right now say Astros. 35.3% say Yankees. Ross and I are picking the Yankees, so we're going against the majority right now. And I'm also going to pick the hot Phillies. I almost picked them to beat the Cardinals. I don't know why I didn't. I should have done it. It was the only one that I wasn't sure about. When you're not sure about something, it's telling you if your gut's not there, you need to go the other way. I should have picked the Phillies. I didn't listen to my gut. Phillies, I got them winning over the Padres. And in true fashion of the other Twitter poll that we put up, you guys disagree with the both of us. 62.5% say Padres. 37.5% say Phillies. So continue to vote in our polls. I just shared them again. Who will win the NLCS and the ALCS? Ross and I are both picking the Yankees and the Phillies, and I'm going to pick the Yankees in 7 games with a walk-off home run by Aaron Judge.
And then hopefully they actually pay the man and they resign him, so that's not his last memory.
I kept saying the deeper they go, the more he costs, and this man is one step out of the World Series. You better pay him a $900 million contract, because that's where it's at. If I'm Aaron Judge, I'm walking in there going, 14 years, $900 million. And then they're going to be like, you're nuts. And I'm going to be like, am I? Because if you lose me, it's like you're losing Babe Ruth right now. It's like you're losing friggin' Jeter. And who loses Jeter, you mother trucker? So, that's where we are right now, is if Judge is not the face of the Yankees, Judge is the face of the Yankees, the face of Brooklyn, or the Bronx, Bronx. Yeah, he's the face of the Yankees, he's the face of the Bronx, he's the face of the sport right now, he's the face of any video game you want to put out there. Aaron Judge is the reason why some young people are watching baseball. He's the reason why Yankees have new fans. He's the reason why some Yankee fans that have been bitter and upset have come back. He's the reason why people are excited about baseball. The young generation, like I said, is excited about baseball. Aaron Judge is he's Rep BX, baby. He is the face of the Bronx, the face of the Yankees, the face of the Bombers. He is the face of, this beautiful, wonderful pinstripe team. Pay him what he wants. And I said, listen, I'm going to make him an offer on Dan Tortora Broadcast Media because at this point, he's a free-range chicken right now. So I can do whatever I want to do, but I don't understand why they haven't paid him. And I said, George Steinbrenner isn't rolling in his grave. George Steinbrenner rolled so much that he rolled through the dirt outside, made a tunnel, and his casket now is like in Italy. That's how far he's rolled in his grave, through the water and through the woods to grandmother's house he went. Nobody has paid this man, and Steinbrenner would have paid him at the beginning of the season knowing two things. A, I can't lose him, and B, I don't want to pay him later this season when he costs more.
Absolutely, and so hopefully they win the championship, win the World Series, first time in Judge's career, first time in 13 years for the Yankees. So if no matter what, they at least get one championship with Judge before it's over. But I really hope it's not over. I hope they re-sign him for the next 8 to 10 years for the rest of his career. He's 30 years old. Pay him till he's 40 and have him be a Yankee for his whole career, just like Derek Jeter. All these kids, just like everyone when growing up wanted to wear number 2 for Jeter, everyone growing up now wants to wear 99, including my daughter, wearing 99 for Aaron
fake
Judge
fan.
on our T-ball team.
Fake fan.
And everyone's
fake.
wearing it.
She's a fake fan.
I just shouted at her because while she was screaming Dunkaroos, she then wanted me to turn off the Yankee game and then basically watch like Paw Patrol. I'm like, you said you wanted to watch the Yankee game with me, and she eventually did. Yeah. But I was
It was funny though. Like Ross literally called out his my niece. He called her out. He goes, "If you don't watch Aaron Judge at bat and you don't watch the Yankees, you're a fake fan. You're a fake fan." And I was like,
I was frustrated. I was at my wit's end, and then I'm like, we have to leave for karate class and miss an hour of this game anyway. I'm fine to do that because I'm here to support you.
Yeah.
You're the love of my life. You're my 2 kids, LJ and Lulu. But for the 20 minutes we have until we have to dress for karate, let's watch some of the Yankee games. So for them screaming and dropping F-bombs and then not watching the Yankee game, I was very annoyed. So at that point, I basically like, you have all these Aaron Judge posters. You're not a real fan if you don't want to watch at least 20 minutes of the end. And then when we got back from karate, she got to watch the rest of the game. She saw the Aaron Judge home run before we left for karate, and everything was copacetic. But I think in the end, it was just the insanity of I need my Dunkaroos, and I will be a crazy beast until I get my Dunkaroos, until I get my way. So I think that's what that was all about. I think she adores the Yankees, but she wanted her Dunkaroos and didn't care about anything else at that point.
yeah, well, and that's the thing. I'm like, Lorelai, come on, you're the Aaron Judge super fan, so you got to get out there.
We gave him a birthday card, and we gave it to security guard at the Yankee. I don't know if he ever gave it to Judge, but we made him a card saying you're the greatest guy in the world, and we love you, and drew a picture of Aaron Judge for his 30th birthday back in April. So hopefully that security guard didn't just keep it like a weirdo and actually gave it to Judge, and hopefully Judge one day will maybe respond. Who knows? We even put our, I guess we took a chance. We put our address and phone number and say, this is Lorelai, your greatest fan. I'm 5 years old, all that. So she loves Judge and has all these posters and jerseys of him and wore number 99 with pride on our T-ball team. Was so excited to wear his jersey number. And she just didn't care about anything but Dunkaroos at that point.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on here, folks. We got.
Hey, the man. We need Judge back, and we don't want him to go to his hometown team he grew up with, the San Francisco Giants in the Bay Area in California, because the first game of the season, regular season, is at Yankee Stadium, as they said, March 30th, in the frigid, freezing cold. And guess what the matchup is? San Francisco Giants versus New York Yankees. And how heartbreaking would it be, even if the Yankees come off a championship, that he's not in the home dugout, he's in the visitors dugout on the San Francisco Giants wearing number 99 in a different uniform at Yankee Stadium against the Yankees. That would be mind-blowing and heartbreaking in so many ways for me and for all the kids out there who adore this guy as their role model. Pay the man, because there's a good chance either the Mets, who have lots of money in New York, or Boston, or L.A., with the L.A. Dodgers, or the San Francisco Giants, the team he grew up loving, have lots of money in the offseason. They might be willing to pay the guy a blank check, whatever he wants. So the Yankees, stop being cheap, pay the man, or else you're going to see him on opening day, possibly in the visitors' dugout for the San Francisco Giants, and that would be horrendous to watch as a Yankee fan.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what the heck is going on. They need to pay the man, and again, I told you, the deeper they go, the more he costs. So make sure that you pay him. And, Ross and I both going with, and Greg's calling me the Grim Reaper this season of MLB teams. So he's like, because you picked those two teams, it's going to be the Astros and Padres. Get out of here, man. But
I'm very confident about the Phillies. So that's the thing. The Yankees and Astros is a crapshoot because the Astros are favored to win. They've dominated the Yankees this year in the regular season, winning 7 of the 9 matchups. The Yankees won on 2 walk-off hits by Aaron Judge, a home run and a big RBI double off the wall. So the Astros have dominated the blood. I'm very confident. As we say, the Yankees, I'm picking the Yankees, but I'm only like 40% confident, about 60% confident. But with the Phillies, I'm very confident that they are red hot and they're going to dominate the Padres just like they did with the mighty world champion Atlanta Braves. Defending champions knocking them out. St. Louis Cardinals with Paul Goldschmidt and Arenado and Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina in their last seasons of their great Hall of Fame careers. They knocked off the Cardinals, knocked off the Braves. I'm 98% confident they are going to beat the Padres, who I think in many ways the Padres World Series wasn't in the playoffs last round, which no one expected after being dominated by the Dodgers in the playoffs in the regular season the last few years. So I think the Padres, that was their World Series beating the Dodgers and getting bragging rights. I think the Phillies are definitely winning their league championship series. The Yankees one I'm a little nervous about, but I'm still picking the Yankees. But I can see the Astros being the favorites, but I'm picking the Yankees anyway. I think the Phillies, I'm highly confident they're going to win their series. And that's why I think the Padres are only going to win one game of that series. It's going to be, they call it a gentleman's sweep. You don't get swept 4 games to nothing. I think you'll win 1 game just to make it respectable, but I think Phillies win 4 games to 1 in a 5.
Jamie!
Hasta la vista, baby. Get to the chopper. It is not a tumor. It is a nature.
I would really love if there was someone in the front office of the Yankees named Jamie. So when someone got really pissed off about not signing Aaron Judge yet, they just open the door every day and they're like, Jamie, what are you doing? And it would just be beautiful to me to go, easy gaga gaga. And I want to see him like baby talk, like, oh, he's a little baby. You know what I mean? Like, wow. But Jamie, where are my Dunkaroos? I mean, I really would love if Judge could stay a Yankee. And that would be an amazing thing because I don't want to see the people of New York suffer, because then we would have to suffer losing plastic bags, Dunkaroos, and Aaron Judge. And I'm not willing to lose the third one. So with that being said, Mr. Turetsky, I appreciate you as always, and I look forward to talking with you very soon.
Thanks for having me on, buddy. It was a pleasure. Go Yankees, go Phillies. Hopefully it's a great rest of the playoffs. Enjoy also the great, exciting football games. College football, Syracuse undefeated.
Jamie!
All the exciting NFL games. I know you're going to a Jaguars game against the Giants, and the Giants are red hot, 5-1. Saquon Barkley's playing great. My Jets are playing great. Steelers found a way to beat Brady and the Buccaneers. Bills are red hot. They finally they slayed their dragon. They beat Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, even though they probably have to do it in the playoffs after they've been knocked off 2 years in a row in the playoffs by the Chiefs. So, great football. Basketball and hockey is back. Regular season basketball and hockey is back, which is exciting. And, of course, baseball playoffs getting ready for the World Series next week. It's good, thrilling stuff. And it's your birthday, so I'll quickly sing Happy Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Feliz cumpleaños, Saki. Feliz cumpleaños, Saki. And many, many more. Happy birthday, buddy. Happy 37 years on this great planet. And you're... as my people would say, you're a mensch on a bench, and you make everything a lot better and put lots of smiles on people's faces. So you deserve it. You deserve the very best, and I hope you have a great birthday celebration, and hope to see you soon, buddy.
Thank you, and I appreciate that very much, and a happy birthday to you. You started off October right on October 1st as well, and I would like to bring our entire conversation full circle today by saying that LJ and Andrew Cuomo have something in common. They were both eventually found with poop on their hands.
Very true, very true.
That's what you get for taking away my Dunkaroos and plastic bags, bro. So, but...
all the dirty laundry. LJ's got dirty laundry, and so does former governor.
Yes, he does. So, I look forward to talking with you soon. God bless. Go Yankees. And in honor of my grandfather and obviously my dad here, watching the game, and you and the family. and just much appreciation. Go Phillies for my good friend Danny Tome as well, who's down there in Philadelphia, and I think has built a tent outside of Philadelphia, as he will not leave until they make the World Series, and I think they're going to. So much appreciation as always, Ross. Love you, and you know I love you, and you're my brother, you're my family. Don't have enough good things to say about you, and just so grateful. Can't wait to see you. It's not a true birthday until I get to spend time with you. So I look forward to talking with you soon and seeing you soon. And in the meantime, my best to you, and may the day have less poop and more Dunkaroos.
I hope so. Definitely the same thing for you. More Dunkaroos than poop. And take care, buddy. Thanks again.
All right, man. Talk to you later. See you. That coming from Ross Turetsky here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We got to jump into the fantasy football power hour. Not a, but the fantasy football power hour. And we're going to do that right now here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So if you're with us on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /